It's a great pleasure for both of us, both my good friend Mr. Manoharan and I, that so many of you have turned up here for this program which we call Winning Ways. In the course of this program, we will first talk to you about what we call Charted to Succeed. Maybe I'll put up a few pictures. That'll be a segment where we only have pictures. And you possibly on a sheet of paper, based on the pictures that come up, based on the clues that come up, you will perhaps put down who those people are, what strikes you, etc. In the second module, which we call the magic of dreams, we'll try to walk you through why it is so very important to establish goals, how goals are actually to be established, because this is going to be a hands-on kind of program. We'll also talk to you about why people don't establish goals. There are two very, very important things, namely the brain and the memory, which will help you set those goals and execute them. In the third module, whose tagline we have copied from the electoral tagline of America's very transformational President Barack Obama, in a session that we call Yes, We Can, we'll talk to you about the I's and P's of success. What are the elements? What are the strategies that people need to adopt in order to succeed? Succeed, of course, in the standpoint of the Chartered Accounting exam, because that, I guess, is your immediate priority. And also succeed in any exam that you might take up, including the larger exam of life. In the fourth module, we will discuss what are some of the tools that you can adopt in order to enhance your study skills. What is it that you possibly need to do in the classroom? What is it also that you possibly need to do during your study holidays so that you are well equipped for the exams? Your generation is, I think, both a fortunate generation and perhaps an unfortunate one. In our generation, there was only maybe 1.5 television channels. There was Doordarshan and there was Doordarshan 2. Just imagine, they couldn't even think of a different name, so they called it Doordarshan 2. Today, you've got 500 channels. In our generation, letters used to come by post. There were no emails. Most importantly, there were no social networking sites. There was no smartphone. There was no WhatsApp. There was none of those things which today's generation has to list out in its priorities. So in the segment on time management, we will try to endeavor and tell you as to how important it is to manage time, what you need to do in order to manage time, etc. Then in module number 6, which is possibly the most important module as far as the Chartered Accountancy course is concerned, which is your articleship, your internship. We'll try and explain to you as to how or what you need to do in order to get the best out of internship. Chartered Accountancy is possibly the only place where you have internship for as long a period as 3 years. You don't have that kind of internship in medicine. You have no internship whatsoever in engineering. So we'll try to understand as to what makes that internship so important and how you could perhaps get the best out of the internship. In another module, we will take you through what are the ingredients, what is the kind of skill set that you need in order to do well in an exam. Because while you might have all these study skills, while you might be an outstanding student, ultimately what is important, what marks a successful student from an unsuccessful one is how well he takes the exams. And therefore the examination is going to be absolutely important. And in the concluding module, we'll take a look at what are the few things that you need to do to make your career look that much better. I'm going to show you a few pictures. On that sheet of paper that you have, as I show you one picture, you tell me what do you think about that particular person. I'm not going to give you any clue. You can write whatever adjective you like about that person. Here is this person. What is the adjective that you write about that person? How does that person look like? Would you like to look like that person? No. How does this person look like? Good. Bold. This person? And this person? King-sized. All right. Now, I had 5 words in mind. Maybe the impression, the first word that came to your mind when you saw that person, first person, was that, oh, this is very average looking. Maybe the second one you said it's good. Maybe you said very good. But what you need to really recognize and understand is that in the field in which one is in, one can choose to be average, one can choose to be good, one can choose to be very good, one can choose to be the best in the field, or one can actually even choose to be the very best in the world. I'll put out some numbers against these persons. They are not their age. Okay? I put 50, 55, 60, 65, 75. What do those numbers mean in your view? Sorry? Ratings, okay. What does that number 50 suggest to the mind of a CA student? Pass mark. And what does the number 75 suggest? Rank. The moral of the story is simple. While you all said, no, you would like to be like that person, what I'm only trying to say is that in the most important battle of yours, which is the exam, you should reach that stage. That stage is how much? 75. 75 would translate into approximately 525 in the IPC exam and 600 in the final exam. Is that something difficult? Now suddenly there is a pin drop silence. Is that difficult? No. Okay. There is a proverb in English. A proverb which says that it is good to get a stiff neck by aiming too high than to get a hunchback by aiming too low. So it is pretty fine to aim high and not achieve it than to aim low and go and achieve what is low. And I'm going to show some pictures. I'm also going to put some words along them. You will have to identify the person. This man is the director of the award-winning movie Elizabeth. He's also the director of the heart-stopping movie Masoom. In a country that idolizes its cricketers and iconizes its film stars, you would have thought that a person as famous and as popular as Shekhar Kapoor would have had his education in the film industry. That is what you would have thought, but that is not what has actually happened. Until he descended on the scene, the deadpan way in which Doordarshan presented news was the way people thought news should be presented. He has changed it all with a professionalism that has been so hard to match that today there are lots and lots of people who have made their career in news anchoring, holding this man as their role model. That, like you said, is the president and chief executive officer of New Delhi Television, Pranay Roy. Take a look at this person. He took over the chairmanship of the Aditya Birla Group of companies under extremely tragic circumstances when his father died very young in a US hospital and Kumar Mangalam Birla had himself not turned 30. People ask the question whether a rookie like Kumar Mangalam Birla will be able to handle the Aditya Birla Group of companies. Today, nobody asks that question because Birla is considered a corporate czar in his own right, and he has taken the Aditya Birla Group of companies to places. He is a former Solicitor General of India. He is now a Supreme Court lawyer, and he is perhaps amongst the richest lawyers in this country. That is Harish Salve. He incidentally is the son of a former minister and a former president of the Board of Control for Cricket in India, Mr. NKP Salve. He's a former investment banker, a guy with a brilliant academic record, in fact, an outstanding academic record. Currently, he is the power minister, Piyush Goyal. Piyush Goyal is India's new power minister with an incredible background as an investment banker. He was the man who pioneered investigative journalism. His writings, his columns brought down 2 national governments, and today he is widely regarded as the man who acts as a troubleshooter whenever corporates have problems amongst themselves. The corporate families have problems that they need to resolve. Whenever they do that, they turn their attention to Mr. S. Gurumurthy. She is Naina Lal Khidwai, the first Indian woman to come to graduate from the Harvard Business School. She is also the first Indian woman to ever head a foreign bank in India. She is today country head of the Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation, which we all better known as the HSBC Bank. Deepak Parekh, whenever the government needed anything to be sorted out, in most cases, they've always turned to this man, the chairman of Housing Development Finance Corporation. He is currently regarded as the big daddy of the housing industry because he almost single-handedly built that industry to whatever it is today. He is called the Big Bull. He is possibly the biggest bull since Harshad Mehta and possibly the biggest bull since Ketan Parekh. He is, like many of you identified, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. And the most important thing is that many people today believe that Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's investment style is value investing, which comes fairly close to the kind of investment that Warren Buffett, the world's second richest man, did. This man is Vijay Govindarajan. He was voted by the students of the business school in the United States of America as the best professor in the US, and he picked up that award for 3 straight years. I think I showed you a number of pictures. I showed you Piyush Goyal, former investment banker and current power minister. We talked about Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, an incredible investor. Then there was Harish Salve, the former Solicitor General and today's top Supreme Court lawyer. We had S. Gurumurthy, an investigative journalist. We had Pranoy Roy, a news anchor who has completely changed the face of the television industry. We have Shekhar Kapoor, a man over whom even Hollywood swoons. We have Naina Lal Khidwai, an extraordinary banker, first Indian woman to head a foreign bank. We have Kumaramangalam Birla, the chairman of the Aditya Birla Group of Company. We have Deepak Parekh, again a brilliant builder of institution. And finally, Vijay Govindarajan from the world of academics. You find all these people successful in different walks of life. I just want you to know what is common amongst all of them. All of them are CAs by qualification. That question mark there is not to ask you the question, what is common to all of them? That question mark is also intended to have a circle there. And I want to add sometime later, some 10 years later, 15 years later, another picture coming in.
Whose picture?
Your picture. We'll be very happy to see your picture there. Second most important lesson that I want all of you guys to draw. The first one being that we must aim high, so high that we might get a stiff neck, rather than aim too low, which will lead to a hunchback. If that was lesson number 1, lesson number 2 is that you need to take pride in the profession that you're going to be in. This is a profession where you have galaxy of extraordinarily successful people, not just working in that profession, but working in different parts of various aspects of the corporate sector.